Like, the truth about entrepreneurship is not a lot of people are very honest about where they're at. In this day and age, we're seeing a lot of people taking photos in front of Lambos that they rented or maybe even photoshopped, in front of jets, everything like that. But the reality of it is, at the core, at the foundation of this all, through the struggles and the pains and the successes and failures, we're all very, very similar regardless of what we've gone into at this point. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my very beginnings and be completely open with you about my struggles, my successes, my failures, my pains, and my transformation into where I am today and what I'm working on now. So I hope you guys enjoy. So I wanted to do a Facebook Live for the sake of this video, but apparently turns out Facebook and Instagram are broken. I thought it was just my phone. I was like resetting my phone all day. I was trying to post a video on Instagram and nothing was working. Nothing was going to my stories, and I was concerned. I almost called AT&T and told them it was over, but it turns out we're still going to have a relationship for a little bit longer because it wasn't just my phone service. It was Facebook and Instagram. So now I'm mad at Mark Zuckerberg. Anyway, with that being said, I wanted to really talk about my beginnings. I think a lot of times, a lot of people will kind of come on record and you'll kind of just see them where they're at now, right? Like their success, where they've really made it, right? You look at people like Russell Brunson. I was talking about Russell Brunson yesterday, and I have a hard time sometimes when I see him. I look at him like this big bad man on the planet that has a $200-300 million company behind him. But then when I take a step back and I listen to like earlier podcast episodes, you could find earlier podcast episodes where he actually was coming up with the idea about ClickFunnels, and he talked about it on the podcast, or he started the podcast when he was on the brink of bankruptcy, just because I think he said he just wanted something to do because he was just bored and kind of sad. So going back really puts it into place and perspective for his audience, and that's kind of what I wanted to do here today, and really talk about where I came from and really my struggles and everything in between. So to really take this a step back, I want to take it back probably close to 2 years, but not quite. So a little bit before I actually got on this quote unquote entrepreneur journey. And it started because I was struggling to fit in. I was very self-conscious about being in a wheelchair, and the workforce made it even worse because my best bet for getting a job ended up being a call center most of the time, because people would look at me and be like, well, clearly you can't do this job, so no, you can't have the job, right? But it's not like they told it to me flat out, but you just knew. Because obviously if they told it to me flat out, that'd be discrimination. That'd give them a whole world of problems. But at the same time, it's like they're putting these limitations on me even before they knew me, right? So that became something that I was very self-conscious about at a very young age. And it kind of transitioned as I reached adulthood, around 18 or so. And so I ended up in this long list of call centers after call centers after call centers, just going job to job, trying to find something that I can amount to, something that I can do to make people proud, right? Because people talk about, okay, you got to make a good living. Well, that's kind of what I was searching for. Like, is there a call center out there that will accept me, that'll give me this good living that everybody's talking about? I wanted to be able to pay my bills without freaking out. I wanted to have my own place. I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to make people proud. And this is where I was searching for that. And so back in, I want to say back in like 2017, probably around like February or March, that's actually when I met my wife. And I was having a really hard time with the current job I was at. I was working for a company who was contracted for ADT security services. We were basically like glorified secretaries, and it was a grind. It was very annoying. People were very rude, and I was just getting sick of it. And I was kind of doing this same cycle that I always did with these jobs, where I was on this high. They hype up the job during training. They make you feel awesome. They make you feel like you could be the next CEO of the company. And then I was going down this mountain and turning into this spiral of depression. And that's usually where I would quit the jobs and move on to the next, right? But at the same time, this this was different because this depression ended up being something to where I really didn't even want to leave my room. I was having a really hard time. I was struggling overall, and I was barely showing up for work, but yet they needed people so bad that they didn't really say anything to me. And I just remember one day sitting down with my girlfriend at the time, my now wife, Bailey, and talking to her. And I was just being really open, telling her, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this job. I'm really sad. I'm really depressed. Like, what do I do? And she told me, she was like, listen, you really have to get into a place where you're willing to just do something that makes you happy, whatever that means. And you got to follow your dreams. And she was so supportive of me from the very beginning. She helped me through that depression. She helped me through that sadness. And then even past that, she pushed me into a place of saying, look, like, this is something you don't like. You obviously haven't liked it for years, yet you keep going through the same cycle. You got to do something that's better. So really, I came into this place of saying, okay, it's time to really follow my dreams and find something that I can identify with, that I can amount to something, right? And so almost by chance, I was basically on Facebook. I was surfing the internet, really doing nothing of coming to a place of finding something better for me. And I came across an ad from Ty Lopez. Now, for any of you that know Ty Lopez, he's really out there in the Facebook world. It's kind of how he made a lot of his money, is through Facebook. And he kind of, in my eyes, made popular the idea of social media marketing. Now, social media marketing, the whole concept behind it was going out to business owners and basically pitching them your services to run their social media, to run Facebook ads for them, to maybe even design a logo or a website, whatever they needed. You were kind of like this one-stop shop for a business. And that all of a sudden became this thing that I really, really wanted. And he was putting these success stories in front of me, and I was saying, that's going to be me. I'm that next story. There was one person that kind of went through this program with him, and he ended up making like $30,000 in the next 2 weeks or something like that, and ended up having to turn clients away because he was making so much money. So in that point, I was telling myself, I want to make $10,000 a month. I was also telling myself, I want to pay off all this debt that I have. I wanted the fancy lifestyle. I wanted to kind of have like an ounce of power, an ounce of control in that sense. And I wanted to also be able to provide for Bailey. And so all of this together, I embarked on this journey, and I was really just following everything that they told me to do. They told me to do social media audits and send it to people in the mail, and then they would come and beg me for my services. So I did that, you know, and they told me to cold call people. So I picked up the phone every now and again and I'd cold call people. And so I did that, and that didn't work. And, you know, the truth is I had a lot of internal struggles that I didn't really share or talk about a lot to anyone. And I let my wheelchair get in my head a little too much. I really feel like I felt like because of this circumstance, because of who I was, that no one would ever really listen to what I had to say. So because of that, I feel like in the back of my mind subconsciously, as I was calling these business owners, as I was going to them in person, everything that I was trying to do collaboratively to make this $10,000, to get this lifestyle, to provide for my wife, all of this stuff coming together, I was just struggling because I just continued to tell myself with everything I did when I had those roadblocks, hey, like, they're obviously not going to listen to you, like, look at yourself. And I had a really hard time with that. And, you know, the idea of social media marketing was great, but I started to realize, like, that part of me that was depressed, I never truly got rid of that. And so on days where I'd struggle, on days where I was frustrated, that would kick back in, right? And so I would have a few days where I would be on cloud nine. I would be going through the homework. I'd be trying to take the necessary steps that they're telling me to do. And then maybe I'd get one bad cold call where this business owner's telling me off, and then I'm doing this again. So it's like I'd go forward 2 steps but back 3, and all of this stuff was happening to me. And I really, at the root of it all, I think I didn't really want to put in the necessary work that it would take to make that money. I looked at some of the testimonies that Ty had for his program. And you kind of look at it, and on the surface, it makes it seem like he just went out, he called 2 people, they happened to write him a check for like $30,000, and he was rich in a week, right? But what we don't know is what happened leading up to that. What was his story? And I think that's why this is so important. And to be honest with you, the epiphany that I started to have was that cold calling and acquiring customers through direct mail, through audits and things like that wasn't really the way that I was going to acquire customers. I came across a man named Russell Brunson. Now, Russell Brunson is the king of what is referred to as sales funnels. If you heard me talking yesterday, I talked a lot about sales funnels. And so this was my vehicle for success, sales funnels. And so I went on this journey with them, with ClickFunnels, with sales funnels, and I looked and I saw all these people set out before me to make tons of money in sales funnels. There's 2 awards in ClickFunnels that they actually give out for people that make money in funnels. The 2 Comma Club Award and the 2 Comma Club X Award. The 2 Comma Club Award is somebody that's made $1 million in a funnel. The 2 Comma Club X Award is somebody that's made $10 million in a funnel. So I was like, well, if they did it, I can, right? And so I set off on this journey. I started building out funnels saying, hey, I'm just going to take all the services that I would have offered them in person, and I'm going to put it in a funnel somehow, some way. It was very poorly done. I might even share it with you at some point. It's still kind of up there, actually, and I never went in and messed with it. And I'll tell you how many customers I acquired with that funnel. This many. And zero. That's all there was to it. And so I was noticing something that, yeah, sure, there's people out there that have made $1 million in a funnel, $10 million in a funnel. There's people out there that throw a funnel out there, launch it, and it makes them tons of money. But I wasn't that person for a couple reasons. One, I was rushing everything. I threw some stuff on the page, put like an about me section, put an opt-in scenario, put an area for people to click on applications to get services done. And I was sure that was going to make me tons of money, and calls were going to be flooding in. But what I neglected to realize is this, again, takes work. It's like almost like through all of these scenarios in my life, I've decided somehow, some way, I've found an avenue where I could sit back and not work and just make money. But the reality is, just like everything else, with sales funnels, I had to actually put in the work of learning how to put my message out there, learning how to actually build out funnels efficiently and make them look halfway decent, learning how to mess with all the different elements, learning about all the different pages and how to integrate products and things like that. And also the Facebook side of things. There's really 2 parts to a scenario when you're launching an idea. There's the funnel and there's the Facebook ad. Sure, within the funnel, there's the sales message, there's the offer and all of that. But I'm a firm believer behind, if you don't know what you're doing on the Facebook side of things, even if your offer is great, the chances of somebody buying is kind of zero, because you're really not putting it in front of the right eyes. I can have the best offer in the world. If I took ClickFunnels offer right now and I went to, a 5-year-old and I said, hey, here's this thing that's going to change your life. You're just going to do X, Y, and Z. You're going to plug in all this stuff. I'm going to help you along the way. Give me $1,000. Would that work? No, it's the wrong audience. So I know not a lot of people talk about it, but I truly believe if you don't know what you're doing with Facebook ads, the first thing you might want to consider is maybe buying a course with somebody that could teach you how to run Facebook ads, or 2, paying somebody, outsourcing the Facebook ads so that side of things are taken care of, and the funnel can do the rest of the work, right? And you can actually reach the audience that you're looking to reach with your right offer. And this is what I started to realize. All of this stuff was actually difficult. People made it look so easy. People made the funnel side look easy. People made the Facebook side look easy. And I just remember putting a whole bunch of money into ads thinking like, surely I'm going to get $1 million, right? Like by tomorrow. I remember talking to my wife and I'm like, listen, I know you're working on your job and everything and you're having a good time, but I just want you to know I'm about to click submit. I'm about to publish this. this ad's about to go live, and by tomorrow you can quit your job because $1 million is going to come in and everything's good. And then what would happen? I would put an ad out there, or maybe the offer was okay, maybe it wasn't. Either way, I'd put an ad out there and I'd reach obscene amounts of people, like 50,000 people. And you're telling me out of one of those people nobody wanted to purchase. Well, what does that tell you? I was reaching the wrong audience, and it took me so long to really realize this. Oh, I should have really honed in on this months and months ago. And I've read .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, and Russell really nails it to you as far as, finding that right audience, finding your dream customer and all of that. And I was ignoring it, thinking I was an exception to the rule, that I was going to put my awesome thing out there and everybody was going to buy it, right? And I just started to notice an audience is important, what you're putting out there in front of you. And you have to find your dream customer in such a way that you want to be able to work with the right people, the people that you could wake up every day and say, man, I'm glad that these people are my clients, right? Now, really what ended up happening in all this is I kind of took a step away from funnels for a minute, and I started going to family members that had businesses, and I started pitching them on websites. Yeah, I kind of put sales funnels in the back seat because I started getting all this disbelief about sales funnels, like, oh, it's never going to work. And so I started building out websites for family members. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to be this website designer, right? Never really got anything outside of the family, but I did get the experience. And then I did come back into a place of realizing, like, hey, what am I doing? Like, the money is in the sales funnel. I just haven't quite figured it out yet. So I started putting in work and absolute crazy time over the past 12 months or so, really figuring out the structure of ClickFunnels, really figuring out the structure of sales funnels, putting out different funnels and seeing what works and what doesn't, trying to do webinars and things like that. And I actually got into a place of designing funnels for a few people. So that was pretty fun as well. But I think all in all, I started to realize that when you don't force things to happen in life, they kind of just, everything kind of works itself out. I was sure that I wanted to be a social media manager. I was sure I was going to make tons of money that way. But, fate had its own plan, right? And so at this point, sure, have I necessarily achieved the goal that I set out to do? No. But there's a different end game at this point. And really, I've become transformed in the way that I have stopped caring what people think. I'm going to be putting out a lot of content. I'm going to be telling you all about my day-to-day. I'm going to be telling you about, what I'm doing in my life, where my successes are, where my failures are, where I'm struggling, and where I can help you in such a way that hopefully someone listening to this can say, hey, I really feel like I could relate to that Devon guy, because that's the main goal of this all. I want you to know that I'm just like you. We might be on a different part of this path at this point, but it doesn't mean that we are not the same exact when it comes to all this stuff. You're going to have that disbelief. You're going to have that sadness. You're going to have times of struggle, and you're going to have times of success. But the reality is, as long as you stick to it and just be true to yourself and really ask yourself, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I truly love? Then you're going to be okay. So I definitely just wanted to share that with you guys, and just let you know that, hey, I'm just like you. I'm still trying to figure this out. And this has literally just become my journey now. These platforms have become my journey to success. I put in my podcast description that I'm on my journey to success to $1 million. And I know that's going to make people freak out a little bit. That's going to make people think, oh, this dude's crazy. But that's the point, is I'm going to reach really high, right? And sure, I'm going to have those little successes along the way, but that's the end game at this point. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going strong, and I'm going to keep publishing no matter what happens. But hey, so if you haven't already and you have no idea what I was talking about when I was saying sales funnels, a video is going to pop up somewhere over here, or maybe over there, where I actually go into complete depth about what a sales funnel is and actually walk you through the process of creating one. So you're definitely going to want to watch that video. Like I said, it's going to pop up somewhere, maybe to this side of me or maybe to that side of me, but you'll see it here in just a sec.